Hi everyone, welcome to H&R Reptiles. My name is Ashton Riley and welcome to today's video. In today's video we're going to talk about something that I find very important. It's the difference between going off and catching a reptile and keeping it, or opposed to buying one from a pet store. Now, there are quite a few people who actually go off and will catch reptiles to have in their home. I personally really do not agree with that. I think that all reptiles that are in people's houses should be captive bred and, you know, bought from local breeders or reputable pet stores. Ones that you know that the animals are coming from a good place. Because there are so many reptiles in the pet trade right now that you don't need to go off and get a ball python from the wild, or a mossy leaf-tailed gecko, or a gargoyle gecko from the wild, or even a skink from the wild. It's just not really necessary. You can find one that has been captive bred, that has been captive bred for a few generations now, that those animals have never been in the wild. You're not taking them out of their natural environment. They've known houses and stuff their entire lives, their grandparents and so on. Whenever you take a wild animal straight from the wild and put it inside of your home, first of all, you're bringing its environment from, constant and ever flowing to vivariums and stuff like this. Don't get me wrong. The tanks and stuff, I always make sure that my reptiles have more than enough room and more than enough enrichment inside their tanks. Like with Rango, he was captive bred. His parents were captive bred. I only do captive bred. But he has a big enough cage where he can thrive. It is the biggest one on the market. He doesn't need one this big. He needs one about that big. But we give him more room just so he has that. Whenever you have reptiles that you've captive bred, they're used to being in enclosures and having all of that. As long as it's big enough, they're fine. But whenever you go off and catch one in the wild and bring it into your home, it's like taking them out of where they always were and expecting them to do well in a tank setting. A lot of them don't. A lot of them end up dying because they're just not used to being inside of a home setting. With captive bred, that's all they've known is home settings, people. So they're okay with it. And a lot of people also will get fish straight out of the oceans or ponds and stuff. That's really not good either, because let alone, you don't know the diseases. Even with bringing wild reptiles, you don't know if they have anything from the wild. With captive bred, these guys are healthy. They've seen vets. They're healthy. You know that they're not gonna die within a couple of months, because you don't know what they had in the wild. They could be exposed to anything, so you don't really know. I really don't agree with people that go off and will catch reptiles and fish. Even if they go off to in Florida right now, you can catch the lionfish because they're an invasive species there. I really don't agree with that. But yet the other option with those is they go off and they kill them. I don't agree with that either. But just let them, be in the wild. Granted, they are invasive species, but there's enough in the pet trade that you can just buy one that's been captive bred. I know there are quite a few people who are going to disagree with me with this and will say that it's okay to do wild caught, but that's just their opinion. And my opinion is that captive bred, why not? If there are already so many of these that are in captivity, why take any more out of the wild? Why is that necessary? I personally feel like it's like when zoos go off and will take a tiger out of the wild, even though there are breeding programs that produce tigers in captivity and stuff. It feels the same to me, just littler, and I'm not like bagging on anyone who went off and catches ones from the wild. I just really hope you guys do your research and you make sure that you get a healthy one and they're not going to die. Captive bred, in my opinion, is the best way to go with that, because that your reptile is going to adapt to living in your house good. I know today's video was a little controversy, and I'm sorry for that, but I hope you guys liked it. If you guys did, make sure to give it a comment, a like, and subscribe, because we post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Bye.